So, this is the story of a man from Italy named Caecilius, and he was an actual person that lived in the city of Pompeii, which is famous for the volcano that erupted, Mount Vesuvius. And this is an actual statue of him, or possibly they think maybe it was his father, that was found in the house of Caecilius. But they do know that for sure he was a real person, and this was either him or a family member. And so this is going to go through the story of Caecilius and his family. So that's what we're going to talk about first. Familia. This is his family. Caecilius est pater. He's the father. Caecilius est pater. Metella est mater. She's the mother. Metella est mater. Quintus est filius. So you have the pater and the mater, and then you also have the filius. He's the son. Quintus est filius. Clemens est servus. You see the difference between the clothes they're wearing? So the son has fancy clothes. The servus is just in plain clothes. He's the servant. He's the slave. Servus is slave. Clemens est servus. Grumio est cocus. He has a frying pan. Est cocus. He's the cook. Grumio est cocus. Cerberus est canis. We would pronounce this as Cerberus. That's how, if you've ever heard the story of Cerberus, he's the three-headed dog that protects the river Styx on the entry to to Hades in Greek mythology. But it should actually be pronounced, at least in Latin, Cerberus. And he's the dog, est canis. And they actually, in this family, Caecilius actually did have a dog named Cerberus, and let's scroll down real fast. This is in the entryway to his home, and it's the mosaic of his dog. So that when people entered the house, they would know that there was a dog there, if he wasn't already locked up protecting the doorway to the home, which was very common. So, Caecilius est pater, Metella est mater, Quintus est filius, Clemens est servus, Grumio est cacus, Cerberus est canis. So these are the places in the house where all the familia is hanging out. The house is called the villa, or what we might call a villa. They pronounce it villa. And Caecilius est in tablino. So he's in the study. He's est in tablino. So in the entryway of the house, kind of at the back of the entryway, they would have a study overlooking the garden. And that's where the pater of the house would hang out and do his work and meet with people as they came by. And they call that the tablino. Caecilius est in tablino. Metella, who is she? Mater, est in atrio. So this is the entryway to the house. So this would be the front door over here. And you'd walk in. This is a pool of water and an opening in the ceiling where the rain would come down and they could collect water. And this whole area is called the atrio. And this would be a little place to put their idols, their gods, so that they could worship them. And then where these steps start, this would be the tablino right here. So she est in atrio. And then Caecilius est in tablino over here. Quintus, because he's a lazy kid, evidently, est in triclinio. Quintus est in triclinio. So think of reclining. See how he's laying down because they recline when they ate? But then there's three, or try, places to recline. They would always have three benches in kind of a U shape around the table. Triclinio. Quintus est in triclinio. Clemens, and who is he? The servus. Clemens est in horto. He's in the garden. He's working in the garden. Clemens est in horto. Grumio, he is the cacus. He's the cook. So of course he's in culina. Grumio est in culina. And then Cerberus, he's locked up in front of the atrio, and he's in the via. Cerberus est in via. He's in the road. Luckily chained up and not running around. Although they didn't have cars back then, but I suppose he still could have gotten hit by a chariot. Clemens est in horto, right? Oh, I think I have two of these pages. Okay. Grumio est in culina. Cerberus est in via. Now, what are they doing in these places? Pater, Caecilius est pater. Pater est in tablino. And pater in tablino scribit. See, he's writing, scribit. And when they wrote, they would actually, if they were doing like just a rough draft or something that they didn't care that it was kept for forever. So if they wanted it to be set permanently down, they'd write it on paper, on papyrus, just like the Egyptians did. But otherwise, they had these little books that actually were wax tablets. So this was all wax in here, and then they'd have this stylus, a pen, that they would write in the wax. So pater est in tablino, and pater in tablino scribit. Est mater, mater est in atrio, mater in atrio sedet. So she's sitting in the atrium. Mater in atrio sedet. And she looks like she's spinning some wool. But she's sitting. Sedet. Mater in atrio sedet. Telling Clemens what to do, evidently. Quintus, okay, est filius, he's the son. Filius est in triclinio, okay, the three recliners. Triclinio. Filius in triclinio. What is he doing? He's drinking. Bebit. Bebit. Filius in triclinio bebit. Servus, this is Clemens, est in horto. Servus est in horto. Servus in horto laborat. So ignore these two letters. Labor. Okay? He's laboring. He's working in the garden. Servus in horto laborat. Cocus, the cook, est in culina. He's in the kitchen. Cocus est in culina. Quid est cocus? He's in culina. Cocus in culina also laborat. So Clemens, the servus, et the cocus, they both laborat. So cocus in culina laborat. Cerberus est canis. Canis est in via, the road. Canis in via dormit. He's asleep. Canis in via dormit. Okay, so what are they all doing? What is Caecilius doing? He's scribit. Metella, the mother, he sedet. What is Quintus doing? He bibit. Clemens, the servus, he's laborat. Grumio, the cacus, he's laborat also. And the canis, Cerberus, he's dormit. So this is a list of all that vocabulary. Est should by now obviously mean is. Pater is father. Mater is mother. Filius is son. Servus is slave. Slave and servant to the Romans would have meant the same thing. I mean, they might occasionally have paid workers, paid servants, but they wouldn't have really, it wasn't really that much of a difference in their minds. Cocus, cook. Canis, dog. In tablino, in the study. In atrio, in the atrium. In treclinio, in the dining room. In horto, in the garden. In culina, in the kitchen. Now notice all of these where they're in somewhere has an O or an A at the end with the line, the macaron above it. So that's what we call the dative case. In tablino, in atrio, in treclinio, in horto, in culina, in via. And then these are the verbs, the action words. Scribet, writing. Sedet, sitting. Bibit, drinking. Laborat, working. Dormit, sleeping. So now we have a story um, where we are using all these words. So this is a story about Cerberus, the canis, the dog. Caecilius est in horto. Caecilius in horto sedet. Servus est in atrio. Servus in atrio laborat. Metella est in atrio. Metella in atrio sedet. Quintus est in tablino. Quintus in tablino scribet. Cerberus est in via. Cocus est in culina. Cocus in culina dormit. Cerberus intrat. Now these are some new words. Okay. Cerberus intrat. So here we go. Here's some new words. Intrat. Cerberus intrat. Cerberus circumspectat. Circumspectat. So Cerberus intrat. Cerberus circumspectat. And remember, cocus, where is it? Cocus dormit in culina. Cocus in culina dormit. So Cerberus intrat. Cerberus circumspectat. Quibus est in mensa canis salit. So quibus est in mensa et salit. He jumps on the table. Cerberus salit in mensa. Canis in mensa stat. Canis in mensa stat. Stat in mensa. Grumio, the cocus, grumio stertit. 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 Snores. Canis latrat. Woof, woof. Latrat. Grumio surgit. Surgit. Canis latrat. Grumio surgit. Cocus est iratus. Think of our word irate, means very angry. Iratus. Cocus est iratus. Pestis. Furcifer. It's hard to see there, but pestis is pest. Furcifer, scoundrel. Pestis. Furcifer. Cocus clamet. The cook shouts. Cerberus exit. Okay, just like our word exit means to go out. Cerberus exit. So let's read that last paragraph again. Cocus est in culina. Cocus in culina dormit. Cerberus intrat. Cerberus circumspectat. Quibus est in mensa. Oh, sorry, I think I said canis last time. Quibus is food. There's food on the table. Quibus est in mensa. And then canis salit. So he sees quibus est in mensa, and then he salit. And now canis in mensa stat. Grumio stertit. Canis latrat. Woof, woof, woof. Grumio surgit. Cocus est eratus, pestis, furcifer cocus clamet, Cerberus exit. Okay, so try reading this on your own and see if you can understand it without referring to the vocabulary. And that is the end of this first section. It's not the end of chapter 1 yet, but it is the end of what we will be doing for today. And there are some worksheets in on this. So let's see. For the worksheets, you should be doing up to up to 1.4. Okay, so this is you'll be answering fill in the blanks with Latin words which translate to English, then read the box letters downwards. So trying to figure out what Grumio says, that will be, this is what he says. So the Latin words for father, for going out, for on the table, in the study, son writes. What does Cerberus do? So you put the Latin words for works, stands, sleeps, enters, shouts, and in the garden. And then this, you can have your mom or someone give you some sentences from the book. So you can say, so go down to the jobs that they're doing, like what are they doing? So you can say, pater scribit. So if pater is scribit, if he's writing, then where would he be? He would be in tablino. He wouldn't be writing in the via in the street. He wouldn't be writing into the clinio. I suppose he could, but they had it that was specifically for eating. So he should be writing in tablino. Okay, so you can quiz each other and mark down where the person, animal, or object is most likely to be. And if that's too difficult, you could also just like say it in English and then write the answer in Latin. And then this isn't in the book, but it's just an interesting exercise talking about Latin names. So it may surprise you to discover what some Latin names mean. Match the names in the left column with a Latin word and its meaning in the right column. So guess what clemens means. Remember, this is the servus. His name is associated with a Latin word clementia, which means mercy. So you can go through that, and it's pretty easy to figure it out. And then you know that names have a meaning, so below you'll find some names which come to us from the Latin language. So these are Latin names, but these names come from Latin, including mine, Serena. So say what you think the name might mean, and you can use the internet to find out the meaning of your name or ask your mom if you want to. Serena, I'll tell you mine, for instance, means peaceful. So it comes from serene or peaceful. And then I'll give you one more. Stella, that's an English name that we have. Stella, people are named Stella, and that means star in Latin. Stella means star. And then some of our surnames have meanings which relate to a job or profession or skill. For example, Cook. I have a friend named Jonathan Cook. So come up with 3 more last names, surnames of this type. And then the last exercise, each of the following formulae represent a word derived from one of the vocabulary checklist words for this stage. That's in your book. So combine the suffixes. So this is the suffix, means the part of the word at the end, with the Latin root word suggested by the English word here. Okay, so What is the Latin word for street? It's via. So via, duct. A viaduct is how we would pronounce it in English. A viaduct. So duct is a suffix that means um, leading somewhere. So a street that leads somewhere is a viaduct. And a viaduct is like a specific type of bridge that carries like a railroad or a road somewhere. Okay, so it's a street leading somewhere. And then let's see, um, tude means like an idea or a state of being. It's sort of an abstract idea. That's a little hard one. The ous as a suffix, us, this means basically full of something, abounding and having a lot of something. And then moni means that it is an action or a state. So it's the state of whatever the prefix would be. Okay, it's the state of being a father. It's the it's a system around fatherhood. And then did we do that? We did that one, yeah. I skipped that one. Meant means like an action. So it's the action of sitting. This one is probably the hardest one, so we'll see if you can figure that one out. All right, so this is will just help you to understand that a lot of English comes from a lot of Latin, and you can see how many of our words, even if they're not straightforward Latin, they're often a combination of Latin prefixes at the beginning and suffixes at the end. Okay, that's it for this for now.